Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work, man. I'm sitting here at my desk, man. One thing I absolutely positively hate, man. I can't stand doing paperwork. I'm a grunt. I like to work. I like to get my hands dirty. I'm in there doing, you know, shelves, cabinets, knocking down walls, building houses. I love that stuff. One thing that drives me crazy is sitting at the desk, actually having to work on the computer and do paperwork. It just literally gives me a headache. In fact, I think I got a migraine going on right now. But and been on the phone, God, with Geico for about an hour. They're working from home and things, and so this stuff just gets lost. Oh, I got to transfer you to somebody else, and you get lost in the mix. But you know how that is. I mean, let me not complain because life's hard right now for everybody. But anyway, interesting piece a couple hours ago. I was going to talk about this a couple hours ago, but then I've been dealing with some paperwork that Mike Fisher has with Aldon Smith. You know, the Cowboy. Here's the thing: where the Cowboys got an advantage going years ago. The Cowboys got an advantage because they found talent where other people didn't. They ended up going and getting like Bob Bullet Hayes, track star, played football, but he ended up being a Hall of Famer. They went to small black schools and things and got players and so forth. So they were finding a supply that nobody else had tapped to get more talent than everybody else. Because sometimes it doesn't matter what your game plan is if you don't have the horses in the race. It just doesn't matter. You've got to have players as a bottom line. And then everything else is semantics. And one thing the Cowboys tried to do is they tried to tap and get talent by getting guys that were damaged in college. You look at Jalen Smith, you look at Sean Lee, you look at Morris Claiborne, guys that were dinged up in college, or Randy Gregory, because of the weed and things, that they get these guys at a discount that could be really good. Well, you look at Jalen Smith, and that one's definitely paid off. Randy Gregory, well, not so much. But we'll see how that works out. Back in the 90s, of course, where they got a whole lot of talent, was they traded their best piece, which was Herschel Walker, for a boatload of people with the Minnesota Vikings. And that brought a lot of talent to the Cowboys. So the Cowboys have been also looking at getting people that have had maybe a shady past, and that's where Randy Gregory in the draft comes in. They tried with Greg Hardy, that kind of blew up in our face, and now we have Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith, for the Cowboys, it's very little to risk, but definitely could be a huge payoff. The amount of money that we're talking about paying him is less than kicker money, really good kicker money right now. And if it works out, great. You got him on a one-year deal. If he ends up playing outstanding and you decide he's too much for us to pay, he can be like Robert Quinn, go on someplace else, sign a big fat contract, and you get a compensatory pick for nothing. Because that's basically, we're going to get a fourth-round pick for Robert Quinn. That's nice, and he came through and he performed for us. If he does, and you like what he does, well, you sign him to a contract. But you're not compelled to a big salary cap hit. You're not compelled to a long-term contract. It's a prove-it deal. And basically, for him to get all $4 million, he's got to have 13 sacks. I'm hoping he gets all $4 million. But the question you have to ask, because he had some incredible years when he first came in, we're talking about historic the first couple of years. But then he got into a lot of trouble. And so Mike Fisher had a piece in Sports Illustrated today, and he's talking to Aldon Smith. And I want to take a few of these quotes out of here because it's really interesting. I lost my way along the way, Aldon Smith said, in a full media session since joining in his first full media session since joining the Dallas Cowboys and being restated by the NFL. I wasn't sure what my purpose was. I know football is one of my many purposes that God has put me here for. With God giving me the talent, this gift, it was something I didn't finish. Last year, my grandma passed of ALS. My life wasn't where I wanted it to be. She got a message to me. Go out there and get what you deserve. That and me surrendering to the problem I had with drinking. It was time. I got to the point where I was fed up with how I was living my life, and I knew I needed to change. I feel fast. I feel good. I feel very fit at 285, he says. Let me see it like that. Let me say it like that. Let me say it like that. Sorry, I'm terrible reading. In the past, I was a young teen boy in a man's body, Smith says, and the way I handled life was in an immature manner, and that was fear-based. I'm grown into a man I am now, and I'm not trying to become a better person. I am becoming a better person. Actions speak louder than words. We've all made mistakes in life, and I look back at my own personal life. It's always, I wish I knew then what I know now. Because you look back on yourself and you said, damn, when I was young and strong and, or had opportunity in college, I wish I had studied more to gotten my degree, or, if I had worked a little bit harder, a little bit extra working out, a little bit more weightlifting, and paid a little more attention in classrooms, that, maybe I could have been a better player. And as you get older, you realize these things, especially things that you've lost. A lot of times we'll find the guys that are in bars, sitting at the bar, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, I could have been this or I could have been that. And I've always said to myself, I don't ever want to be that guy in the bar that's saying I could have or I should have, because I want to make sure that I go through and do everything that I can to be the best person. If I fail, I fail. But I don't want it to be because of a lack of effort. This realization, hopefully it's not too late for Aldon Smith to turn around his life and his career. 30 years being away 4 years, it's not exactly, a given that you can just pick it right back up. Although he doesn't necessarily have to be where he was when he first got in the league. If he's 80 or 90% of that, that's above average. So from the standpoint of that, a lot of people are saying, well, he's 285. He was playing at 270 or 265 before. But you also have a man body. And by the looks of it, he looks big, he looks fast, he looks strong. But again, we don't know until he actually gets out on the field. And see, I really love the way he sounds contrite, the way he's realizing that, I've got to be different. I've got to be the change. We heard earlier this week that he was going to be reading to kids and things like that. So it sounds like he is a changed man. And I look at this totally different than the Greg Hardy situation. Greg Hardy, the Cowboys signed to $8.5 million contract. He was already going to be suspended 4 games or 6 games going into the season. And it was a situation where his conviction was overturned. Whereas Aldon Smith, he spent his time being suspended for multiple years and not being able to get into football. And with Greg Hardy's situation basically being overturned except for the 6 games he was suspended, it was kind of more like, you know what, kiss my ass, okay? I don't really gives no F's, if you know what I mean. And the attitude was still not quite there. And that's where football, becoming part of that fraternity of being an NFL player, not many people have that opportunity. And it's not something that's going to last very long. So you have to make the most of it while you're there. I'm hopeful that Aldon Smith, for personal reasons, of course, because I want him to be an absolute beast and terrorize everybody in the NFC East and the NFL for the Dallas Cowboys. But I also like seeing somebody being able to turn their life around before it's too late. And it sounds like for him, he had finally hit rock bottom. And rock bottom is when we finally realize, I got to do something different or else it's over with. So hats off to Aldon Smith. Hopefully we can see them on the field doing some work and everything else. And hopefully he's in as good a shape as everybody says he is. So I can't wait to see that. So it's 5:30 now, 9 o'clock, live stream tonight. And I'm going to have Glover Quinn coming in tonight. We're going to be talking. Hey, Glover Quinn, if you don't know him, former Detroit Lions safety, as well as Texans. Played for 9 years, had 737 tackles and 24 interceptions. And so we're definitely going to be talking to him tonight, trying to get a little bit extra knowledge up in here and find out a way that you can actually do some stuff with some NFL players. So tune in tonight, 9 o'clock, because I will be there, okay? You better be there. I'll see you soon.